Alright, getting to the point where I decided to go ahead and get some trick flow. These are 240 trick flow heads. They're CNC'd. Nice port job. So I'm going to do this myself, swap the heads out, so that's what I'm in the process of doing. I got some Harland Sharp rockers, and they look pretty good. I like them. I mounted them here temporarily with some temporary bolts just to see how they line up and everything. And to tell you the truth, they line up very nicely. If you look right here, see how that lines up, and it lines up center also. In my opinion, it's coming down right center. So this is just testing them out before I install them. You can get some movement, sideways movement here. There isn't much here right now, but if you adjust your bolt and push it out this way, then you can get some movement. I don't have any movement. I haven't put my feeler gauge in here. None of these have any sideways movement. As you see, the bolts aren't down yet. But essentially, I think they line up pretty good. It's almost a no-brainer in all the dimensions, the forward on it and sideways. So that looks pretty good. What I'm using to soak these you got to soak for about 24 hours. I'm going to use the Lucas break-in oil. And I have one soaking right here below me. I just bought a plastic tube, put an end cap on it, and then poured the oil in and stuck them in. So they're sitting in there soaking. I probably need a little more oil, but I'll just turn them upside down. Then I got some for these bolts up here. These are going to be the 3/8 16, which is coarse, by 2 inches. You know, I think that's going to do it for all of them. From what I can tell, the 2 inches is going to give you plenty of thread engagement. And then here's a part number for the big block bolts to hold the head down. And these are the ARP, and they're nicely chromed or polished. I like them. Those are cool. So that'll be the bolts to hold the head down. Now, one thing about these things, you got to wash them when you get them. They are filthy as far as, well, actually they don't look filthy, but if you inspect them and look closely, you're going to find all kinds of metal debris. And you know that's dangerous for an engine. So I hand washed them, I oiled them, and I'm probably going to wash them again just to make sure that the metal is. I didn't actually chase all these threads, but I'm probably going to run down a bolt inside them all. And as I do that, you can see fine particles coming off also. So there's a lot of work here in cleaning up the particles so that doesn't get in your engine. But I'm pretty happy with the alignment that this is right here. I don't see, since it's this pole sort of thing running through the center, there's not really any forward or back alignment I can do for this. It's basically what it is. The alignment, you could shim it, but they all line up pretty nicely already, so there's no reason for a shim. They're all free. I'm going to measure them to see what kind of freedom I got, but it's almost like it came out of the box perfect. So let's hope that keeps going. So that's where we're at, and I'll get back to you when I get them on the car. All right, about ready to start the tear down of the old, take the old heads off. We'll take the exhaust manifold off. This gets to stay on. Comes off. We're gonna have to take the alternator off because it's screwed into the head there. And with that, some wires are probably gonna come loose from here. See what wires I got on here. Okay, as far as throttle linkage goes, we have a bolt to remove here, a clip here, we're going to just go ahead and try to take off the fuel injection with the manifold. We'll try to leave that together, but that would mean we have to take this off. Not really sure. You have 3 cables. This one. Let me come around the other side. You have your fuel lines. We have a cable here, goes to this connection here, and then of course that connection I've showed you, and then there's this connection here. So those connections come off and I should be able to get the manifold off. That's it. Alright, in the process of taking these heads off, got the covers off, the manifolds off, the valley gasket. These are actually pretty damn nice. It's too bad that we had a failure here of a water system here with a crack over on this side, because actually they look really nice, really nicely done. Well sealed up. So I can't say the builder didn't know what he was doing. He really did know what he was doing, did a good job in my opinion. So I'm in the process of taking these bolts off. They're about 75 foot-pounds. Okay, heads off. I'm seeing a lot of fluid right there, right there, right there. Not sure how they got in there. And if you look at this one right here, dead center, it's a lot of, looks like something splashing or something in there. I can't explain that, but the leak was right here in general, and it's weird that the gasket is all jumped up here. From pulling, most of that gasket came off on the head, but it's just a little bit weird. Wouldn't expect to see, you know, it should have come off smoothly, but it didn't. It's a little odd that there's so much junk in there, almost like fluid was maybe passing out of this bolt and getting into there. I don't know. Hard to say. Doesn't look clean, does it? Looks very dirty, which I would not expect. I mean, it's only been run a little bit. I'm a little surprised that it looks so dirty. And that fluid, maybe it just came out of the passages or something, but there was no, yeah, maybe it came out of this one up here and got down in there, and maybe, but there was no, there's no sealant on any of these bolts. I don't know if that's right or wrong. All right, here we are. And also these push rods, they're solid. They don't have any hole in them for oil, so I'd assume that's normal. But that push rod does not fit the Harland Sharp. It needs to have a cup on the end of it. So that means I have to get, see, Harland Sharp has a cup for the end of this push rod. You have to have a cup. So that means I got to get push rods. And I didn't know that. I thought that these were cupped until I took it off and took a look. Can't base. So here's what happens when you try to put clay bar in to measure your valve clearance on the piston. It gets extruded out into some holes and makes a big freaking mess. So my opinion of putting clay or some sort of putty in there to measure your valve clearance, not a great freaking idea. Only roll it over a couple times by hand. Alright, so here's the flat top pistons. They're 40 over. Deck looks good. Looks good. It's ready to get the heads installed. I've measured the push rods, and push rods will be in any day now. Okay, on gasket fitment, the holes all line up, but you see the gap right there, right in there. It's a good gap. It's the only thing I would say about it. This is a metal gasket with Teflon on the outside, and it's 40 over, but it's not a very good shape. I'm going to assume that's okay though. Not to my liking. Let me pick up something right here. Okay. So I'll go over on the table here. I just finished claying it again, where I got some clay and I put it in there. So these are in, and the only one I pushed down on was this one, and it looks like I got plenty of clearance. The push rod, which is, I measured, this will be the second time, measures now 9.697, so 9.7 end to end. We take this and we measure the clay. Well, it says 233 thousandths. Not sure that's right. I just rolled it over one time because I didn't want to make the same mess I had, and I only did this one. I didn't put a push rod on this one. Just rolled this one over once. So I'm gonna have to assume push the depth for the valve clearance is good. Well, I'll go ahead and close up this video. I've reassembled the engine. Still some tweaking and tuning and adjusting to do. Distributor's not in yet. There's a spot for it. Carburetor's on. Still connecting all the wires. Exhaust manifolds are on. So, in conclusion, I did these bolts on this intake manifold were supposed to be torqued to 40 pounds, and that's what I did. And I did not use any gaskets except for the valley pan, and then I used the Right Stuff gasket maker sealant and went around the entire thing. So actually not a bad job. The next video will be the engine start video, so we'll get to see if it blows up or it runs normal. We're gonna find out in the next video. Take care, YouTube.